ears, and then you talked about your back and your legs. You didn't talk about how your hips are twisted, which causes your legs to be smaller and causes that, part of that shift from one side to the other. I don't know if they would have cut down your bone in your leg. At least that's what I understood you were saying as part of surgery. But then again, I never looked to understand what that surgery
he
could have
suggested
been.
that like surgeons would have been able to do that.
Correct.
And that would have been the only way to actually get your leg, unless if you want to grow your bone, but that's using drugs that don't necessarily help.
One of the physical things that I noticed that you did was you started with your hands behind your back, and then you ended up where you actually got maybe a little more comfortable, and you started using hand motions a lot more.
So then
you started feeling like you were enunciating, and then you were going along with it, and it seemed better as you went.
That's typically what ends up happening because
you get comfortable.
It's also a nervous thing when you release your hands, but then you probably are trying to process, how do I make this look normal?
Well, yeah, because like with my hands, I don't like to, because I always remember from speech class, they're like, because I had my hands sometimes where they're in front of me like this, and they're like, well, you don't want to do that when you talk because you sound like you look.
Like you really memorized it or something.
Well, yeah, but you can also see if you're nervous, you can see your hands
you're gripping or sweating,
squeezing stuff. Yeah. And then if you put it like this, you look like you're not even really. You're like,
yeah.
And you could be doing this and still talking, but maybe you just come off weird. If you sound like this, you're more authoritative, and you're able to. Talk and sound, and maybe you don't even sound the part, but you actually maybe look more the part. Because I noticed I was in the classroom with like the college students, and they all stand up there, and some of them will put their whole hands in and start talking because you can see them fidgeting in their pockets, or they'll put their hands like this, or be like this.
There's also a trusting piece too. Is in
you
sales.
Can't show your hands.
In sales, you're actually taught to keep your hands to your sides.
To your sides?
Yeah, rather than in your pocket or anything. It shows it's a trusting.
If you're hiding something if you've got your hands in your pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I liked your eye contact, and that's just huge.
Well, eye contact, and then your body wasn't swaying or anything. You were staying still, and you were talking to us.
You were being conversational.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something I've been learning is in public speaking that they actually public speaking is not necessarily just me talking and then you listening. It's more of
an engagement.
Yeah, it's a conversation that we're having because there's feedback the whole entire time. I'm looking. The eye contact helps with me listening because I'm actually listening while you're listening. It's, I believe, a dynamic listening is what it's called.
So you are watching facial expressions as part of your listening. You are wanting to make sure that people are actively involved, listening to you, and maybe possibly thinking on what the next steps are. Hey, I want to understand this a little bit more. I want to talk to you about this. And hey, I've been having some issues like that. And I would say the most engaging part that I thought at the very end was just remember all of these times that you've been having this pain and this numbness, you've not really shared that with us. And so remember that with all the people that you come in contact with, everyone is always trying to put their best face forward or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
They're not always sharing what's truly going on inside. And they're also not wanting to show that vulnerability. They're also fighting a lot of pride issues. So,
yeah, because
like
trying to share that was always hard.
Think about with Grandpa. And now he's looking at, gosh, I really wish that I had pushed a little bit harder months ago. Well, it's too late for that now. Let's take care of where we're at today. We can't look back on that. But it's so easy for any one of us to go, I can deal with whatever's going on, and it's not a big thing until it may or may not become something bigger. So, right?
I bet you did well just looking at the audience and just making yourself calm and effective.
And yes, you kept your ears going.
Yeah, it's just something that's natural now. It's not even like, it's like when I was
You
eating.
also highlighted that, so a lot of people could be staring and going, oh yeah, he's staring at me all the time. And now they're looking at you, playing with your ears.
Well, especially when people talk about it, then I start moving my ears.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, well, now the ears are going. They have their own minds.
Yeah, I did close-ups on your ears so they could see you. See your ears move.
Nice. Yeah, so that was. I enjoy talking, and like you were saying, it takes me a little bit of time to get like relaxed into it rather than right off the beat. But I find that almost in every single presentation I've given, that I like start off a little bit slow, ease into it, kind of get my bearings down, which is kind of when I have my hands behind my back, and then I kind of get the feel for everything, and I get to the portions where I actually use my hands to describe something, even when I don't need to sometimes. But yeah.
No, and I mean, it's so, when was it? Today's Tuesday, right? Monday, Cheyenne came and to do that presentation with me. And there were a couple things that I went, okay, I know she's definitely more able to describe what kind of, this tree here is a red maple. I didn't know that. I didn't know that there's a difference between a red and a silver to say three spears against 5 spears, and you know how palmated it is, and the red twigging on the stem and that kind of stuff. So she was able to do that. She engaged with the couple. She went over to the tree, picked a leaf off, and showed them all these things. She was willing to engage. And then when it came to talking about all the plants in there, go for it. You tell them. They remembered her enough. She was familiar enough with them, because we all went over there. And I think she handled it very well, and I had to compliment her as soon as they left. I said, I really enjoyed your eye contact, your willingness to not only try to answer their questions, but to engage with them and also ask them for information. I said, and you were willing to also show that you weren't necessarily the expert by deferring back to me for layman's terms on things, and I could defer to you for information, and you were willing to do this kind of stuff. That's what you need to have when you're talking with people. You need to have, especially nowadays, it's not strictly lecture hall type of information, and you are, the only one who could possibly give them the information that they don't understand.
Yeah, they can just look it up.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to dumb it down enough and make it seem just as interesting to you as you're hoping it is to them.
Yeah, and that's
I think
another
engagement's huge too. I think engagement is good. I think like she was saying, that your eye contact, your body language, your demeanor, how you stand, how you look, all of that. There's nonverbal communication that's really important.
Yeah, I
It
pulled
just
out
shows-
this tie for the first time.
I
It just
noticed you
shows
got
the
your tie
body
clip
language.
on, but I was thinking, okay, when that camera, depending on how it's looking, it's showing the jeans.
The
And
jeans are fine, I think.
for yes, but except for the fact that growing up from even just our generation, jeans are not while I'll wear them to work, I don't wear them to presentations. I'll
And
wear
that-
them
and
to a
that's-
job site.
And that's changed a lot, because
That has
people
changed a
will,
lot.
will do that now, and,
Well, I'm just saying how they dress at a Catholic church in Connecticut.
cause to me,
Interesting.
doing a presentation with khakis on wouldn't be advised, it would be
True, you
slacks.
want the
so-
dress slacks instead of the khakis.
So, but I understand, it's changed.
Mhm. But you dress for the part you're trying to portray. So.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, I find it funny how a lot of people will call me dad or something just because of what I wear, and because I try to wear nice things most days when I go out. Just try to
You
look.
should try to be respectable.
Mm.
You know, don't be the clown that wears whatever they wear to Walmart. Now, have I rolled in there with pajama bottoms and a sweatshirt and my hair in a mess? Absolutely, probably because I was sick as a dog, but I didn't have slippers on, so I was winning the battle.
Well, it is going out and being presentable, it is sharing, caring, talking, you know, looking at things a different way than just
I went out Saturday
going out and
without
saying, I
makeup.
don't care.
And it's quite surreal how different I used to give presentations growing up. You know, it just up until I think really even like 8th grade, I was giving presentations where it was more of just like there's a screen or something, and I had to talk from it, and I'd look over and I'd read something, and then I'd start I'd look like half the classroom I saw, and then I look back, and then.
You have to look for your prompts.
But I was also the only one talking really, because I had like 8 slides, and the others combined had like 3. So that they played their part, but like.
But it's the same thing when you talked at a banquet and you started out a little more tense, a little more
You were reading
on
it.
edge, and then you started to actually
And then you were like,
feel it.
Yeah, I just
Alright.
I just said screw it, and I just got rid of the phone. I put it in my pocket and just talked for real, and I felt.
And that was a better part, and that was memorable in what you did.
I don't remember. Did I actually have that presentation written up before, or?
you had,
You did.
Okay.
but the way it was going,
It was
You knew it wasn't
na-na,
working.
na-na, 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 and then
and so you went off the cuff, so.
Yeah, I was reading how everybody was acting, and it was kind of like people were kind of starting to slouch in their chairs, and
Because we saw
I
you
saw the
looking at your
freshmen,
phone.
and they're all like, yeah, I was looking at my phone a lot because I couldn't read what I had.
You have
it
to
was so
remember,
small.
parents are looking at kids and looking
Mhm.
at each other like, can you get your face out of your phone for just a minute?
Well,
Just a minute.
I noticed as soon as I made my gesture to get rid of the phone, everybody just kind of looked up. Even the freshmen
Yeah.
stopped playing around, and I was like, yes. I kind of had a note by that time, if this wasn't working, then I should probably change my tactics. And all right, well. But yeah, that was. I forgot about that speech, honestly. Because I've been doing quite a few since then.
Do you need to do another video of like you doing it?
Hopefully, I don't need to do any more
So-
videos of that. I think one's enough.
So are you using this feedback that we've been giving you to write another portion, or what? Because we're obviously not videotaping this, or are we still on voice recording
Yeah,
or something?
I'm recording it so that I can use it for like future
Mhm.
references, and
Yeah.
yeah, I figured that since something I learned actually was 50% of what you actually hear doesn't like retain at all, and then within 24 hours the other 50% ends up just disappearing if you don't talk to yourself or you write it down and reread it. If you don't do any of that, then it just disappears, and
Sorry.
what conversation you just had just meant nothing really. I mean, you can have an hour-long conversation about microbiology or something, and you both might know a lot about it, but as soon as you leave that room, you're like, what did they talk about, you know?
Right.
Like, did I learn
There's
anything
so much
new?
information. What did I actually get out of it?
Well, you'll remember it a different way too.
You
But-
tend to retain the things that mean more to you.
Yeah, and that's also the other challenging part with speeches is trying to learn what the audience is wanting, what actually pertains to them, and kind of how to go forward and give a good speech. And it doesn't have to be like a Martin Luther King Jr. like speech, like I have a dream. I mean, that was super impactful, but so many people were influenced by it. It wasn't just like if I talked about characteristics like I just did, well, my classmates might start thinking about what makes them special, and if they have like these super key things that make them special, that's great. But my underlying theme was, you know, what makes you different from someone else? Like maybe it's just your body. How do you get through the pain? Or maybe it's, did you grow up with something, you always just love cooking, or
Right.
this or that, and just figure it out and think about it. And that's what a lot of people my generation kind of struggle with, I think.
Well, yes, because you all get lumped into the same group. You're all roughly the same age. You've gone through whatever the generational things are that you have gone through. You're all dealing with roughly the same things, you know, in your life, you know, how you're parented or whatever it happens to be. What are the things that help define who you are and that help make you a little bit more different, or, and it's not necessarily different like in the way of looks, but how you deal with, how you appreciate, how you understand. You all ready?
Yeah, I think so.